What is going on, folks? How is everyone tonight? Man, that is so schmaltzy. I gotta come up with better intro to say what to say. Hi, how are you? Howdy, what's up? What am I supposed to do when I come on here? I sound like a freaking NPR radio talk show host or what is it? Public radio. Maybe it's because I grew up listening to public radio. Their voices are so ingrained in my head. I just can't get them to stop. I cannot get them to stop. I can't get them to just, it's like, what must I do? It's like sounding like a community radio organizer. Although community radio is not that bad, I'll be honest with you. And being honest is something I have to kind of get off my chest tonight because tonight's episode is a redo of last night's episode where I unfortunately bailed because I suddenly didn't feel comfortable about the subject matter that I was wanting to talk about because I realized I had several allies who believe in me and take my side as far as the political, left political spectrum. Were probably not going to be comfortable with me sharing this interview, this interview that I now am able to be more comfortable sharing tonight because, again, it's in a better format. And I will attempt to explain why. And I will try my best not to ramble on and bore you all to tears. And by the way, this is the John Ross Show. It's TJRS. It is 7:07 my time, meaning Central Time. I don't have my real time. I wish I had my own time because then I can control when I could be able to stream, which I wish I could stream as much as possible if I didn't have school to go to in the morning, which, you know, it happens. It happens, if you know what I mean. Anyway, um, so last night I had planned to air the interview that Vosh had done with Kyle Kalinske and how he was going to explain or ask, or however you want to say it, to KK why he did not distance himself from Jimmy Dore when he had the chance to. Uh, I don't need to remind any of you that are going to be watching the show that uh, Jimmy Dore, when he was working at the Young Turks, made a terrible comment towards Anna Kasparian about the way she was looking, the way she was dressed when she had her college students in the TYT newsroom. He made some very unacceptable comments, and it was just terrible. It was awful. It was unacceptable. It was atrocious. It was all of that. And Vosh, well, actually before Vosh, um, Kyle, KK, I'm gonna call him by the initials because part of me just can't seem to want to say his real name because I lost all respect for him because of this. Kyle decides to say he wants to be friends with Jimmy Dore, even after admitting that Jimmy was wrong to say what he said about Anna. And anybody who has watched this show in the future, hey Chrysanthemum, how you doing tonight? Anybody who has watched this show in the past, or anybody who on the left political media community that has got to know me and talked to me for the last few months or last few I've said what I've said about Jimmy Dore, and I've said my piece and how I feel. I make no secret of my disdain for Jimmy Dore and my just terrible disgust for him. I can't say any other big words enough about my negative feelings towards Jimmy Dore, and also the people surrounding him, enabling him, and his every move. And that includes Kyle Kalinske. Because Kyle, at one time, many years ago, and yes, it was many years ago, was someone that I kind of had respect for. Emphasis on kind of. When I say kind of, I mean I didn't have a whole lot of respect for him, but I had some. Now, I have no respect for him at all. Period. That's the honest truth. And while he was correct to say that Jimmy was wrong to talk about Anna the way Anna Kasparian, the way that he did, he still defended him in the way that he did. Still called him a friend. Still said that he was right to talk about this god awful force to vote. Still able to talk positively about smug people like Aaron Mate, people like Blumenthal, whose daddy worked for the Clintons and now is trying to disavow that and pretend like he's progressive. And as a progressive, I can see right through that. But I don't want to go too much off on a tangent and get off the subject. So basically, I last night was going to play the interview that Bosch had done with Kyle Kalinske and say, why didn't you cut Jimmy Dore off when you had the chance? And as I was watching the interview, it started off with things that made me uncomfortable and that I would know that would make people in my audience uncomfortable. And because I'm such a nice person, although I do have a side of me that can be, I have a tough exterior. I can't deny that. But I'm such a damn softy. I didn't want to put my audience through all that, whoever my audience is. At this point, I'm just starting out as a leftist podcaster, YouTube, Twitch streamer, whatever you want to call it. And my audience is relatively small at the moment. But I hope with time and energy and effort that will grow. Because I have a lot of opinions on people and things and places, and I can't help but share them with you guys and girls and gals. I'll say that. You guys and gals that are watching, I can't help but share that with you. Um, but in all seriousness, I was not comfortable with some of the stuff that the interview was played, and I unfortunately failed. And I I didn't know what else to do. I mean, the I saw it, and there was just some stuff being said that I just didn't like. Mainly because it wasn't a 3 hour show. It was a 3 hour show that Bosch had done, and he hadn't yet cut down the show in clip form yet, and done what usually any YouTube clips you see or YouTube interviews, there's like a space to go to when you want to go to a particular part. But now that has happened, and for tonight, I'm going to play just that portion of the interview and nothing else. It's a 2 hour interview anyway, so I wouldn't be able to play the entire interview because I did actually honestly see some of it, and a lot of it was just not really good. Well, I'm not saying that it's not really good. Um, it wasn't, uh, it wasn't, how do I say it? Geez, the bang is wearing off. I, I drank some of that purple haze, and I need to drink my next set so that my memory will come back. Um, it basically, I was just want to play the point of Jimmy Dore, and to why Kyle Kalinske did not cut Jimmy Dore off when he had the chance to, and just say to him, dude, you should have done it right then and there, and you didn't, and now it's too late to explain yourself. But I'm gonna stop blathering. I'm gonna stop. All right. Here it is. Let's see.
Hank and Anna, we're good friends of mine.
With attacking.
So let's do it.
With Jimmy Dore.
Mhm.
Now you strike me as a person.
And before I play the this portion of the interview, I also want to, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and open this up. Hope y'all don't mind. There. Again, this interview, this is the condensed version. It's not the full 3-hour version. It's a 2-hour interview. I just want to play this part and actually say my piece, because again, I have a very strong opinion of this. And again, my view of Kyle has definitely changed, and not for the better because of this. So I will stop talking and let the video play.
Who is extraordinarily what I'm trying to think of the like the most like honorable term for this. Like, you believe so much in people. I think you're an extraordinarily, would it be good natured? You don't like instigating drama. There's a collection of terms that are valid here, but I think I never get the impression from you as somebody who likes bickering, I guess, with people around you. So it's no secret that I'm not a huge fan of Jimmy Dore. It's putting it very mildly. But I guess I'm interested in your thoughts on this. It seems, at least from my perspective, and the perspective of a lot of people online, I think, that Jimmy Dore has gone very much down the toilet in recent maybe 2 years, but sort of accelerating with time, where it's gone beyond a kind of I mostly criticize Democrats and more towards a just fastidious, borderline conspiratorial obsession with attacking everybody else on the left over anything that he can, which is getting down to like practically Glenn Greenwald territory and like the direction that things have gone. Now, I'm not going to do
it. Thank you, Chrysanthemum. I actually did turn it up, so I hope you can hear it now.
anything cringe like asking you to denounce, but I am interested in your perspective, right? Like do you just want to stay out of things? Do you think there's a glimmer of hope? What's your perspective on that, you know?
So I have a lot to say about this, actually.
Yeah.
So first of all, I like to keep my circle tight, and I don't like to let a lot of people in. And what you're seeing now, what's going on with him, is a good reason why. Why I wanted to keep my circle small, and why it was probably a mistake to get close to almost anybody in the industry. So he was a good friend of mine, but also Cenk and Anna were good friends of mine as well. And now all of them have a burning, passionate hatred of me. And that all really stemmed from the fact that I felt like I was dragged into their fight. Now, I never, ever held back in terms of discussing my feelings on the politics of what they would argue about. So I never, all my views were well known about all the different things that they would bicker over, whether it was Russiagate or whatever. But when I was really like, I'm staying the hell out of this, is when it got really personal between them. And again, you got to understand from my perspective, since I know Jank, I know Anna. I was close with Jank, and I was close with Jimmy. So when I see it getting personal and ugly, man, I really feel like I'm stuck in the middle now. Any normal person in that situation, like there was this expectation that I had for other reasonable people that, well, obviously, you know, I don't want to get in the middle of this, the personal shit, right? Like if you were fighting with some other creator and I knew you and the other creator really well, you wouldn't expect me to like hop in and white knight for you or some shit, because that's wholly unreasonable, right? Well, I was sort of dragged into giving my commentary on the entire feud between them. I did it begrudgingly, but again, I felt like my hand was forced. And so I told everybody exactly how I felt. And one of the reasons why, apart from the personal side,
Again, he's using, this is just me interjecting. He's using the my hand was forced reason. Like nobody, as far as I can say, nobody, and I mean nobody, forced Kalinsky's hand into taking it. He did this on his own free will. He then said initially, like, I wanted to stay out of it, and then he dug himself into it. He dug himself into a bigger hole initially than he initially did. So, just throwing my 2 cents out there.
side of it. One of the reasons why I didn't want to tell everybody exactly how I felt is because I knew there was no political home for my take. I knew everybody would disagree with it. My take was actually relatively nuanced in the sense that on the politics of the fight, I agreed more with Jimmy, but on like the personal side of the fight, Jimmy was being a fucking dick. And so I had to say both of those things. And when you say both of those things, you're going to piss off the Dorites and you're going to piss off TYT. And you're also going to piss off Jimmy himself. And you're also going to piss off Jank and Anna. And so I basically lost every friendship that I had in this industry because I told people exactly how I felt about their fight. Now, on the politics of Jimmy, I will say I'm familiar with what's been going on with his channel because I see bits and pieces that pop up on Twitter, but I haven't watched a single Jimmy Dore video or a single TYT video since the fight. I've totally excised them from my life. I literally haven't, spoken a word to any of them since then because, by the way, behind the scenes, you can imagine both Jimmy and Jank, like, personally blew up at me behind the scenes. And so, I mean, I'm a grown-ass man. If you're going to act like that and that's it. It's over. Like we're done. So obviously I left the TYT network and all that stuff. But in terms of Jimmy's politics, so what I've seen is there was a time when he would mostly criticize Democrats, and you got the sense it was from the left and it was to improve them. Then, over time it slowly creeped up from like, okay, 70% of your commentary is going after the Democrats, 30% is going after the Republicans. Now it's like 80-20. Now it's like 90-10. And then it got to like 100% of the commentary is just like Democrats are bad. Now, if you have a platform, you have to realize, even if you think it's like, well, duh, the Republicans are bad, there might be some 14-year-old coming to your channel who doesn't think that's a duh, and all they see is you shitting on Democrats. And then you're sort of painting a misleading picture of the world. And then when it really got to a point where it was like, this is just sad now, is when the vaccine skepticism stuff started happening. That's when I saw the things on Twitter where it was like, here's his most recent however many videos, and like 60% of them or some shit were just like doubting the vaccine. And when I saw that, I was like, well, it's a good thing that all my ties are severed with everybody, because I do not want to be associated with that in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, yeah, okay, I follow that. I get that. I want to talk about the politics in a bit, but there was this weird thing where it felt like, now obviously this is inference on my part. We don't know what Jimmy Dore actually thinks or feels, but I followed your videos, or I saw them when they came out with regards to that that dispute between Dore, Anna, and elsewise. and it felt like the fallout that came afterwards from either side was very different in the reasons that came about. Because with Anna and Cenk, you know, it felt like they were under the impression that you were holding water for Door because you were
Right.
friends, or because right.
And then ask Jimmy how he feels about me.
Well, but the thing is, like with Jimmy, it felt like, because I can sympathize with Anna and Cenk's perspective, because I don't distinguish between political and personal when it comes to like Door, you know, with the harassment stuff with Anna. To me, it's categorically identical to any kind of advocacy for a policy position, because there is a kind of what would you call it, like a political normativity to what we accept in our spaces or not. So with regards to that, I guess I understand that. Door felt like he was going in on you just for not fully committing, you know? Like it felt like he was calling you like a traitor and a backstabber. And I watched your video, and it honestly seemed like a you know, his engine, the steam engine, you know, is drama and outrage, and just, you know, we're all fuel to that, and just eventually we have to be thrown in, you know.
Well, I think his big contention was that he felt like I didn't acknowledge that he, according to him, was, quote, blackmailed. That when Anna sent that message to Jimmy and was basically like, "Hey, listen,
Oh,
if
that
you
wasn't
don't."
say that wasn't blackmail. What a horrible. That no, yeah, that he was just wrong on that. That was not blackmail.
I will say this, though, and this is not in defense of Jimmy. This is just my attempt to objectively read the situation. Don't you find it questionable that the time Anna chooses to send that message is after, when Jimmy's been beating up on TYT relentlessly on his channel? Now, by the way,
No, no, I don't. I don't. I mean, what's the literal definition of blackmail? I mean, essentially, that's what Jimmy was doing. And we'll get to it after this is over. And I wish already that this was even quicker, but I'm telling you, we'll get to what you know Jimmy was doing afterwards. So, I mean, did he ever try to take responsibility for this? No, I don't think so.
a lot of those criticisms that Jimmy had of TYT, I think are totally unfair. And I think they cross a line and they're dumb. And I mean, one of the things he did is like, "Oh, you're accusing me of misogyny? You're the real misogynist. Look at this video from like 2008 or whatever." And I was like, okay, rolling my eyes, like, come on.
Right.
So without getting into whether or not like the specific criticisms there, don't you think the timing of that was like, yeah, Anna was trying to say, I have this thing I could hold over your head, and if you don't stop beating up on us, then I'm going to tell everybody this.
I think I don't know if I can say it's necessarily coincidence, only that I feel like that's in line with how a lot of Me Too stuff happens, right? Like usually if there's some kind of improprietary behavior, something bad like that, it gets held for some time until there's like a following instigating incident. It felt like, I mean, in a way, especially since, didn't he show like DMs of her beforehand or something? I feel like with respect to that, it wasn't so much blackmail as it was like, you've gotten away with this shit for so long, like that kind of deal. You know?
See, and I think that's a great analysis, and I think that's where like the fundamental breakdown in people's interpretation of this comes from, is that whoever's more like Team TYT, that's definitely going to be their reading of the situation because they trust Anna over trusting Jimmy. And whoever's Team Jimmy is going to think like, no, they're blackmailing him, and look at the timing of it, and because they believe Jimmy more than they believe TYT. So, and I do feel like some would say this might bias my perspective. I think there might even be an argument for the opposite. But I feel like since I was friends with both of them, it almost gave me a unique insight in that I viewed both Jimmy and Cenk and Anna as like good, kind people who I'd had nothing but positive experiences with. And so when it all unfolded, you know, I that's why I didn't want to talk about it, because I'm like, well, I kind of have like a nuanced view of what's going down here. And I know if I speak up, I'm just going to lose all my friendships. And unfortunately, I was dragged into a place where I felt like I had to speak up.
No, I get that. I don't think it can be blackmail categorically because I don't think there was a threat in there.
No,
She
it's
just said
definitely
she was
not
gonna.
legal. It's definitely not legal, like, prosecutable in court blackmail. It's just, the argument from the Dorites would be, well, after Jimmy's been beating up on you for weeks on your channel, on his channel, now all of a sudden you bring up this thing, which obviously you were okay with for years beforehand. But listen, I'm not saying that to defend Jimmy. I'm just telling you what the Dorite view of it was. From my perspective now, I'm just, from a personal perspective, it sucks because I really do value Jank, Anna, and I value Jimmy as a friend. But from a political perspective, I'm just happy that I have like no strings attached to any of them anymore because from a political standpoint, I didn't agree. I mean, I obviously massively disagree with the editorial direction that Jimmy's show was going in, but I also had serious, issues with how TYT had been over the past 3, 4, 5 years where they didn't really align with what I viewed as my values much anymore.
Right. It's just I get that with the TIT politics. It's just it felt like, I mean, when you're talking about like default charitability, it seemed like this. I mean, this got followed up with by like Jimmy Dore kind of bragging about the harassment. Apparently, he lied about it because Anna said there were like other comments, and he was like trying to embarrass her with.
That was my issue, Vosh. My issue is exactly what you just said. That's why in my segments where I talked about this, the biggest problem to me wasn't even the initial incident. The biggest problem was how he talked about it in the video, because he talked about it so like flippantly and glibly while acknowledging that this is something that she really felt disgusted by and disrespected by and didn't like. And then now he's sort of like talking about it as and laughing about it. And it's like, well, nice news skirt. And it just struck me as like, this is not how an adult handles this situation, and it's gross, and I want nothing to do with it. And so at that point, for him to want me to come in and like white knight for him is like, fuck off. I don't agree with how you're acting here. I don't agree with how you're talking about this shit.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, kind of the almost like optimized to be the worst behavior possible. If you engage poorly in the past, I've got a big home for retribution in my heart. Or sorry, not retribution, rehabilitation. Wait, my bad. No, okay.
Both can be good.
Right, that wasn't a slip up. Rehabilitation, and I think there's a lot of room for people to change. With Dore though, it was like okay, so he's going after TYT for political reasons. Okay. Anna feels like maybe DMs were leaked already. She's like, okay, well, fuck you. I'll just make it clear you did this to me. And he does this thing like kind of laughing about it, playing it down, apparently being dishonest about it. It's for like monetizable content, and then accuses her of blackmailing. And it seems to me like categorically the way an abuser would get away with things for years, where you do stuff and then afterwards your immediate response is never reflection. It's always like minimize, invalidate, make jokes at the expense of this person, use my community to harass them, downplay, you know what I mean, like stigmatize, everything that you can do. And again, this is all inference here. I'm not saying he's some kind of criminal mastermind. It's just, I definitely sympathize more with the hurt from Anna, and I don't know much about Jank really, but I guess from Anna, because from Jimmy Dore's side, it really just seemed like he was mad you weren't like his pawn or like his legionnaire. You know what I mean? Like you didn't go 100% in favor of Jimmy Dore, and then at the end of your video say you were donating to him as an apology for being on Earth when this happened to him. So he was going to spend the next week, calling you a liar and a traitor and a snake. And and I felt bad looking at it. A lot of people thought you were grifting, that you did that to appeal to Jimmy because Jimmy's also a huge channel. But to me, it's always come off, I guess, like, half you don't want to get involved in that way, and half I don't think you have like a natural predisposition for attacking people that are in your circle.
That's 100% correct. And let me just say this, for anybody who thinks that what I did was like calculated or there was an angle or something, I lost my friends because I told people exactly what I thought about the situation. And that's why I tried to stay out of it, because I knew if I tell people exactly what I think about this situation, they're all going to fucking hate me. And so I felt dragged in. So I had to do what I thought was the, morally correct thing. I felt like ethically, like now I have to say something. And I told people exactly what I thought, knowing not only would I lose my friends over it in the industry, and they were friends for real. I mean, I co-founded fucking Justice Democrats with Cenk Uygur. I've done live shows with Jimmy Dore. These are people I've talked to. I know them personally. And, you know, Anna and I've had a bunch of lovely conversations. I've been on TYT 4 or 5 times, whatever, in LA. So not only did I lose my friends, I actually went into it knowing this is something my own audience is going to get pissed at me for, because some of the people in my audience are TYT stands and some of them are Jimmy Dore stands. So for me to go out there and say the things I said, knowing that everybody's going to fucking despise me over this, it is literally the polar opposite of people claiming like, oh, he's got an angle, or he's grifting, or he's trying to, you know, appease Jimmy, or he's trying to appease TYT. And by the way, you saw both those reactions online. You saw people like, oh, he's a fucking neoliberal shill TYT cuck, and you saw people like, oh, he's a little Jimmy sycophant, and it's like, if people aren't going to listen to my whole points and actually digest them, then what am I supposed? What can I do? You know, like I'm just putting out there everything I think in detail. And if people want to misconstrue it and misinterpret it, it's like, okay, well then what the fuck am I going to do? And this is one of many reasons, Vosh, why I've obviously come to the conclusion that I don't even read any like sort of pushback anymore, commentary anymore, because I used to think I have a thick skin. Apparently I don't. Apparently I'm very sensitive because you know, it's one thing like legitimate criticism that's substantive, like you and I have when we talk about issues. That's fun. I love that. It's great. But like things that I think are just totally like misstating what I believe back to me and accusing me of shit that I'm not guilty of is like, okay, I can't handle this. I just have to check out from it.
Okay. No, I totally get that. I mean, I think the issue's been hashed. I think, well, the ultimate winner here had to be Jimmy Dore, right? Because his community is fucking feral. He got a lot of content out of that.
Well, and let me just say this as a final word on this real quick. You know, I haven't watched a single TYT video since this happened. I haven't watched a single Jimmy Dore video since this happened. But I have, stuff has popped up on Twitter that I've seen that, you know, has caught my eye. And one of the things that is just inescapable is the shit that Sean caught Jimmy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe you're right about how I'm like too kind in how I read people. But when I saw that, I was like, I cannot believe that Jimmy did this shit. No matter what interpretation you want to give of the situation, either, you know, the idea that he himself, you know, was the one who spliced up the article to change the literal meaning to the opposite of what it was, whether he did that or you believe the kinder interpretation that his producer did that and he just didn't read through the article and he goes out there and make whichever interpretation you believe, either fucking way, totally inexcusable, completely inexcusable.
Right. The producer. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's yeah. No, I completely agree. It's actually something I've seen before from Tipple sometimes, where they'll like, you know, they'll be trying to make a point, so they'll be like reading the article, you know, and then you can see like right below the paragraph they're reading, there's a paragraph that completely tears apart their argument, you know, like they're making an argument on crime going up, and it's like just the one paragraph below, and they begin that paragraph and then abruptly turn away. Sargon did the same thing. It's just this, when they do it live, they don't even bother to edit around it. It's just it's so evident, you know. It's anyway. I don't mean to, you know, ramble on about that. Lord knows I do that enough on my stream.
Let me just say real quick, on the vaccine stuff, it's particularly egregious to me because the actual evidence is overwhelming. There was a French study of over 20 million people, and the vaccines reduced severe illness, hospitalization, and death by 90%. That's a study with over 20 million people. Even if you grant the anti-vaxxers their most insane claims about, like, you know, that VAERS thing where you can report adverse side effects from the vaccine, even if you grant them every single adverse side effect, you know what? You still should get the vaccine because the damages and the harms of COVID are way worse. And so, like, there's just not even remotely a good argument for anti-vax shit. And so my tolerance for that is so thin. And so when I saw that thing, the Sean thing, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, man. You want to talk about you lost the plot. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Okay, this segues almost perfectly. Okay, because there is something, you to me, you're like a bridge to me. You're a bridge between
Okay, that's it. I'm definitely gonna take tomorrow off. Um, boy, I'm taking tomorrow off. I'm gonna take maybe even the next week, maybe the rest of this week. I'm gonna take Thursday, and I'm definitely gonna take Friday off. Uh, because God, that was so cringy. That was like the most cringiest thing I'd ever seen, and not even like from on Bosch's point of view either. Oh God. See, now I don't even know what to go into next because like even that little part of oh God. I wish I had more people in chat so they could just be like, oh God. That was just so cringy, folks. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. I'm like total and utterly speechless at this point. I will say one thing though. Whatever he thinks about Door privately, he's still gonna wish he was friends with him. Regardless of what he just said. Privately, he's still gonna want to be friends with him, and he's gonna wish he wants to be friends with Door, with Demi Jor. I mean, oh man, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to think. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to feel. God, that was so weird. That was so awkward, and uh, I will say this. I will say this that I was, is, and always will be a TYT fan. Once a fan, always a fan. Since 2008, mind you. So I've been TYT strong since '08, and nothing they have said or done or can do or will do will ever change my positive opinion about them. And you can take that to the bank, folks. You can take that to the mother freaking bank. I would be tempted to ask Ms. Chrysanthemum if she's still watching. If you're not, I understand completely because that was just so totally cringeworthy. Or if you could even hear it, because I had my mic muted the entire time, aside from my little interjections every now and then. But if she's still watching, dare I say it, what'd you think? If you think the same way I am, I totally understand and I totally agree. Because it was totally and utterly cringeworthy to hear Kyle just talk the way he did. Like, I still want to be friends with Jake Uger and Anna Kasperi, and I still want to be friends with Jake. I was like, dude, what has everyone been telling you for the last, I don't know, last like since July of this year when all this stuff happened? What has everyone, including Bosch initially, been saying to you since this happened? Cut him off. You should have cut him off when you had the chance. Now you've cut him off, and it's like a little too late. It's too late for you. It's too late for your audience, whatever audience you might have now. because yeah, they were pissed off at you. I mean, I was actually reading some of the comments that was going through Vosh's scroll. Man, they were so on to Kyle, man. Man, I could sit here for the next hour and just let the background music play because I am just so fucking speechless. And I just swore, didn't I? Well, that's because I am. I'm just shocked as hell. I'm speechless. I'm like not even wanting to make a joke or anything because I shouldn't. Okay, so I'm taking tomorrow off. That's it. Oh. I'm taking tomorrow off. I'm taking Friday off, and y'all could go watch Hassan or somebody. Uh, go watch Christina if she's if she's gonna be streaming tomorrow. Because I seriously need to take. I seriously probably need to take like at least tomorrow and Friday off to reset and recalibrate myself. I mean, I want to stream and broadcast as much as possible for you guys. But my God, that was just so cringeworthy. I should have thought of something else to do tonight rather than show that interview. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on politically. Maybe I could talk about that. No. Jesus. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Man, I wish I was in full Hassan mode at this point. I will say this. I'm definitely gonna be getting a desktop computer. Something that's more powerful and that could allow me to stream more properly. Because the MacBook that I'm using is good, but you know, it's kind of lagging. Well, semi-lagging at best. And technically, this is for school, and so I'm definitely going to get something better, and maybe have a different camera angle. I'll probably do the whole like Hassan thing where it's uh, where the camera is not looking directly at my face, but it's looking off. Like you could see me, but it's kind of looking off to the side. Yeah, I'm starting to feel. I'm starting to feel bored, but I'm gonna try to keep it going for a little bit because I tell you, I wish I had started much earlier in the day. I probably would have been much easier. Probably would have been much better at talking than at 7:49 in the evening. And this is what you're hearing. You're hearing the click of a pen because I'm getting really. I mean, again, that was more cringier than I expected. I mean, just being honest, that portion of that interview was much more cringier than I expected, and not particularly on Bosch's view, on Bosch's POV. You know what? I hate to do this, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up tonight. I know this is notoriously short. Um, I'm sorry for for not streaming as full on as possible. Um, I think I'm gonna take tomorrow off, and I'm gonna take Friday off. Um, I'm probably gonna do something on Sunday. I don't particularly know yet. Uh, but I'll definitely try to make it up and try to do something better. Something more non cringeworthy on Sunday, if possible. Um, we'll see. I'll try to definitely do something on Sunday, but unfortunately, it's I don't mean to bail again, but I think I'm gonna end it here. And I'm gonna go recalibrate myself for a moment, and so I won't be here tomorrow or Friday. Uh, so you know, thanks to chrysanthemum rather. Again, I'm sorry that this is notoriously so short and so brief. Uh, I'm gonna take a 2 day. Like I said, I'm gonna take a 2 day old break. Come try to do something on Sunday, and then definitely on maybe Monday mid afternoon come back and be full force again. So hope y'all have a good weekend. Hope y'all stay safe. Uh, be kind to one another, your friends, your neighbors, your significant others if you got them. Treat others with respect, all that good stuff. And I will see you. Hopefully, I'll see you Sunday. And take care of yourselves. See you later.